Today we're talking dominant 7 chords. Now I'm going to show you some common shapes that you'll find them in, both in open shapes and some barred shapes. But not only that, I want you to fully understand what a dominant 7 chord is. So we're also going to learn how to build them from the ground up. I'm Joshua Kenson and this is Kenson Guitar Academy. I help new guitarists reach their musical goals. If that sounds like something you'd be interested in, make sure to subscribe. Now if you're watching this video, you probably know most of your basic open form chords, so your E majors, A majors, D majors. Now how do we take those and build a dominant 7 chord? Well, first off, what is a dominant 7 chord? A dominant 7 chord is a major chord that we tack one extra note onto, a minor 7th on top. So instead of a 3-part chord, so let's take C major for example, C major is C, E, and G. That's the triad, C major. If we tack on a minor 7th, that is B flat on top. So now instead of C, E, G, we have C, E, G, B flat. And the most important notes out of those 4 are that 1st, 3rd, and 7th. Sometimes you will see the 5th omitted because it really just adds depth to the chord. So in the case of C major, C, E, G, B flat, in this open form, I can tack on a B flat on the 3rd fret of the 3rd string, and we have C7. In this form I have C, E, B flat, C, and then another E on top. In this case, we omitted that 5th. There is no G. We can find a minor 7th numerous ways. We can go distance-wise, so a minor 7th is 10 half steps away from the root. So if I start at the root and I move 10 frets up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, there is B flat. Now obviously if we're playing C major down here, we're not going to add that B flat in way up here, so we need to find it somewhere else on the fretboard. Again, that 3rd fret on the 3rd string, same note. We can add that in, and there's your C7. But there's a simpler way. We don't need to count up those 10 half steps away to find that minor 7th. A really easy way to figure it out is to simply look 2 steps down, 2 half steps down, or a whole step below your root note, okay? So on a C major, I can just go 1 fret down, 2 fret down, there's B flat. Now obviously, we don't want it to be the lowest tone, so we're just gonna take it an octave higher. We can notice that those are the same note, B flat, C major, adding in that B flat again, C7. So let's run through some common open major chord forms and see if we can build a dominant 7 chord within that, okay? So let's start with E major. So we have an E major chord here. There's a couple ways that we can make that dominant 7th. So first off, let's figure out what that minor 7th is. So we can count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That is a D right there. So adding in a D would be that minor 7th. Another way to find it, again, is to find that octave and just go 2 frets down. There's that open D. So that would be one way to add in a D into our E major chord. So I could take that E major and simply lift off that higher E, that E that is on the 2nd fret of the 4th string. If I lift it off and allow it to be open, we are adding in that D note, and there is a common shape of E7. But we can find the note D elsewhere on this fretboard in this general area. So maybe I want that 7th to be higher up in pitch. So I don't want that low. I want it a little bit higher. So there's also a D on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. So I could leave my E major shape completely and then add in the note D on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. And there is also E7. Simply a different voicing of the same chord. That's one of the great things about music. It's not just one way, one size fits all. We can make numerous adjustments to build the same chord, but what's called a different voicing. So this is one voicing of E7. Really great, but how about this? That's another really great voicing of E7. I could double up on the 7th if I wanted, so I could even open up that open D string on the 4th and then also add it on the 3rd fret there. There is another voicing of E7. So how about A major? We have an A major shape here. And even though the chord sounds more complicated, we're adding in that extra note, sometimes the forms that we come up with actually are simpler. So in this form, A major, if we find our A, there's the higher version on that 3rd string. If I go 2 frets lower, 1, open, Now I just have the open third string, that open G string, and now we have an A7, an A dominant 7. But much like that E major, let's find another location for that G. So there's the open G string, but I also have the 3rd fret on the 1st string. So I could either keep my form the same and add in my pinky here. There is also an A7. I think for me though, I would rather bar, and then I could either add in my 2nd finger to that G. For me, I think the 3rd finger makes more sense. Either works though, and either is correct. So you could play it like this, you could play it like this, you could play it like this. For me, I like barring with the 1st finger and then using my 3rd finger to catch that G on the 1st string. Same deal as well, I can add it up top. It's all about what you're trying to achieve. What sound are you trying to come up with? Either is correct, it's just what you're going for. So what about G major? Here's a common shape for G major. Now, this top note, G, 6th string G, 1st string G, I can take that down 2 frets, F sharp, F, okay, so that F is that minor 7th. Now I could adjust my G major shape here to where I have my 1st finger free, I can bring it down to the 1st fret, and there's that G7. But maybe I want that 7th lower in the chord. I want it to be add a little bit more depth to the chord, not at the higher register. Well, I can find F elsewhere. We know it's on the 1st string, but we don't want that because we want the lowest tone to be our root note, G, but we also have it right here on the 4th string at the 3rd fret. So I can make my chord adjusted like this. So we have G here. If I want to add in that note, I can rearrange my fingers and get a much more kind of dense form of that G7. So here's that higher pitch of the F. I'd say that's a little bit more easily discernible as G7, but I kind of like the sound of this one as well. It adds it in that lower register. Okay, so we have C7, we have E7, we have A7, we have that G7, depending on how you want to play it. What else can we do? How about a D7? So I often look at these chords not only in the notes that are involved, but also in the shapes, because if you can visualize the shapes, they're more easily recalled and remembered for when you want to pull them out and use them. So here's that D shape, that triangle that's kind of pointing up towards the fretboard here. Where is that D at the higher register? So there's our root note. There's another D there. I can take it 2 steps down, or 2 half steps down rather. There is our C. When we add a C into a D major chord, that is that minor 7th. So now we have a D7. So I can simply make the triangle point that way instead of this way. So if it's pointing up towards the headstock, there's our D7. D major, D7. It's important to go back and forth between these because you want to be able to hear the differences, so when you hear them in songs eventually, you start to recognize them, and that's a really great first step in training your ear to hear these things. Play them back and forth and just see if you can recognize those differences and really kind of imprint them in your brain. D major, D7, E major, E7, or E7. Okay, so there's a lot of the open forms that you would see. There's that E7, A7, A7, D7, G7, G7, C7. But what about a bar chord shape? We've gone over some of those bar chords that really kind of open up your world in terms of the amount of chords that you can play. So if we take a 6-string root major bar chord shape, and I'm going to play it at the 3rd fret here, so that is G major. We've seen that before. Now how can I turn this bar chord shape into a dominant 7 bar chord shape? Well, if we think about where our root is, G, it's also on the 4th string there. I can bring it down 2 frets. So how can I get this note into my bar chord? Well, obviously we need to remove that 4th finger, that pinky, from the root there. And luckily, my 1st finger is in place to bar and grab that minor seventh. Now, this does make the bar chord a little bit more difficult because before, only 3 strings rely on the pressure of that first finger. So now when I lift up that 4th finger, we have another string, the 4th string, that is reliant on that pressure of the first finger. So definitely a added difficulty in getting that chord to ring out correctly. But again, the great thing with bar chords, you master this one shape, we can play it anywhere. We can just move it up and down the fretboard. So you learn this one shape and you really learned 12 chords. So what about our 5th string major form shape, that dreaded double bar? Which I do show some people like this if they can't get that double bar going. Well, same deal. I find that higher register root note. So we have the root note on our 5th string here. We also know that it is on that 3rd string at the 5th fret. We are playing C major right now. So there's that C. I can take it down. B flat. Okay, so instead of a double bar now, what we're going to do is rearrange our fingers and allow my first finger to catch that 3rd string instead of the 5th fret here. So now notice I'm going to take my middle finger now and kind of add pressure on top of my first finger. It gives support to that first finger because again, we have more strings that are now reliant on the pressure of that one finger. So if you have an open finger that can provide support, allow it to do so. And we get a nice clear ring. And again, when we were going over these bar chord shapes initially, our major shapes here, we were relating them back to some open shapes. So this G major that we're playing here, and now G7, we related it back to an E major because really the only difference is we have open strings here, but if I replace those open strings with my first finger, kind of lay them over the nut here, and then move up, you can see where that shape is really just an E major. We just need to make the adjustment because we no longer have access to those open strings. They need to shift their pitches up as well. So we can also see that this G7 chord also looks like our E7 chord. So between those two right there, our major shapes for both the 6th string and the 5th string, we just added in another 24 chords on top of those open shapes that you just learned. There are obviously what seems like an endless amount of chords to learn here because even though we're going over the dominant 7 again, we have major 7, we have minor 7, we have diminished chords and so on. But if we take it nice and methodical and we learn how to actually build them, not just take for granted that this is E7, why is this E7? It becomes more attainable. It becomes less of a chore because you are actually understanding what you are doing as opposed to just taking the word of whatever book or tablature that you're looking at. Taking the time to learn all these things in a methodical way not only teaches you that individual chord and how it's constructed, but also is adding to your knowledge of the overall fretboard, which is very important. So how do you go about practicing these? Well, you can practice these just like you would practice any other chord progression or change. You would just take a strumming pattern and a couple chords and go back and forth. So if you were taking a change, let's say like G major, C major, classic, very common chord change, G major, C major. We could just switch out into the dominant 7 chords. There's a G7, C7. Back to the G7. Maybe we want to go to an E7. Maybe we want to go to an A7. D7, and maybe we just want to go to a regular G this time. C major, D7, and finally G. So much of practice is simply just taking a few chords and putting them together and seeing what they sound like. You're obviously also going to find these chords when you're looking up songs. You're going to encounter some of these open shapes and these bar chord shapes for these 7 chords. But beyond that, sometimes I like to just take a chord and throw it into a song that I already know. So if a song has an A major in it, let's try it with an A7 and just see if it even works, because sometimes it will and then sometimes it won't. So this again goes back to training your ear. You are trying to be observant of the things that you are doing, because you will recognize them in songs that you hear later on down the road. One of my pet peeves with students is when they learn a song on their own, which I love that they do, but they just take it for granted with the tablature or the chord chart that they found, that is the correct way. Because a lot of times, let me tell you, those are not all that accurate. So being discerning and just listening to what you're doing and being like, you know, I don't know what it is, but this sounds a little off to me, because that is the first step to then the next question, which is, well, what sounds correct? And you start to fiddle around with it. And once you're able to figure those things out, you are really leveling up your ear training. So if I could leave you with anything that you're learning here, it's that we are learning to not only learn chords and songs and all that stuff, but we are learning to be observant. I hope that you found this video helpful. If you did, let me know by hitting that like button. And if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to do so. I have a lot more videos on the way, including more of these chord videos to go over. We have a lot more chords to go over, major sevens, minor sevens, and so on. Also, if you are a new guitarist, make sure to check out my free downloadable PDF link down below, 13 things all new guitarists should do/know. Check it out and let me know what you think. I would love to be a resource, so if you have any questions about this video or any guitar-related questions in general, make sure to leave me a comment and I'll respond as quickly as possible. Again, thank you so much for watching. I'm Joshua Kenson, and I'll see you in the next one.